If I can't have you, no one will. Those 7 words shattered the most beautiful day of Jasper Rowe's life. One moment, he stood at the altar, watching his bride approach in flowing white. The next, searing pain consumed his face as liquid fire ate through his skin. The bottle sailed through the air in slow motion. Glass shattered, guests screamed. And in that moment, love transformed into a weapon more destructive than anyone could have imagined. Have you ever wondered what drives someone to such extreme jealousy? That raw, consuming rage that transforms ordinary people into monsters? What invisible line gets crossed when I love you becomes I'll destroy you? This isn't just another love triangle gone wrong. This is the story of Jasper Rowe, whose face and future were stolen in seconds by the woman who once claimed to love him. It's about Nadia Torres, who watched her wedding vows replaced by ambulance sirens. And it's about Rhea Linwood, whose obsession festered until it exploded in an act so violent it made national headlines. You might think you know where jealousy ends and madness begins. You might believe you'd recognize the warning signs if someone you loved became dangerously obsessed. But would you? Really? The acid that scarred Jasper's face dissolved more than skin. It exposed the thin line between devotion and destruction that exists in every relationship. What happens when rejection unleashes rage? How does someone plan such calculated revenge on their wedding day? And most importantly, could this happen to someone you know? Stay with me as we uncover every shocking detail of the case that proves sometimes the most dangerous threat isn't a stranger, it's the person who once held your heart. Welcome back to Altar of Secrets, where wedding bells can quickly turn to warning sirens. Thank you to our loyal subscribers and a warm greeting to first-time viewers joining us today. Our channel transforms shocking real-life events into powerful narratives that expose the warning signs most people miss until it's too late. These stories aren't just about crimes, they're about the psychology behind obsession and revenge. If you're new here, this is the best time to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our other day's uploads. Drop a like if you're already wondering what warning signs Jasper missed with Rhea, and tell us in the comments which country you're watching from. Our worldwide audience offers unique perspectives on these cases. Now let's return to St. Augustine's Chapel, where a wedding day became a nightmare no one saw coming. Jasper Rowe wasn't looking for love at the Southside Community Development meeting. As an urban planner passionate about revitalizing forgotten neighborhoods, his mind was on zoning laws and infrastructure, until Nadia Torres took the microphone. "We don't need another luxury complex," she declared, her voice confident yet warm. "We need affordable housing that preserves the soul of this neighborhood." Their eyes locked across the crowded room. For Jasper, it wasn't just her words that captivated him. It was how she commanded attention without demanding it, how she spoke for those without voices at the table. After the meeting, they debated urban renewal over coffee that turned cold as hours passed unnoticed. What started as professional respect quickly blossomed into something deeper. "She challenged every assumption I had," Jasper told friends, "not to prove me wrong, but to make me think bigger." Nadia, the daughter of immigrants who built a community center from scratch, brought passion to Jasper's practical vision. Where he saw blueprints, she saw people. Where she fought with heart, he navigated with strategy. Together, they began transforming abandoned lots into community gardens and neglected buildings into affordable homes. Their romance unfolded alongside their work, natural, purposeful, and without drama. 8 months in, during the ribbon cutting of their first joint project, Jasper knelt beside the freshly planted oak tree. "This neighborhood has roots now," he said, opening a small box. "I want us to have roots too." Wedding planning became an extension of their partnership. They chose St. Augustine's Chapel not for its grandeur, but for its history as a sanctuary during difficult times. They invited clients turned friends from their community projects. They wrote vows promising to build not just a marriage, but a legacy. "They were the couple everyone wanted to be," said Miguel, Nadia's brother and Jasper's best man. "Not because everything was perfect, but because they faced challenges as a team. No one expected that their greatest challenge would arrive before they even said, 'I do.'" Before Nadia entered his life, Jasper had spent 3 years with Rhea Linwood, an investigative journalist whose career took precedence over everything, including their relationship. They met at a press conference where Jasper presented plans for a controversial downtown renewal project. Rhea approached him afterward, not for a date, but for quotes challenging the developer's environmental claims. Her intensity attracted him. Her mind never stopped working, connecting dots others missed. Dating Rhea was like riding a constant adrenaline rush. Jasper confided to his brother. She lived for uncovering secrets, exposing corruption. Everything felt urgent, important. But urgency doesn't sustain love. As months passed, patterns emerged. Rhea canceled plans when stories broke. She disappeared for days pursuing leads, returning with tales of corporate wrongdoing, but little interest in Jasper's life. Her passion for justice slowly revealed itself as something else, an addiction to chaos, to being at the center of explosive revelations. When Jasper suggested moving in together, Rhea hesitated. "My work requires freedom," she explained. Yet she questioned him constantly about female colleagues, checked his phone while he showered, and once followed him to a business lunch she suspected was a date. The breaking point came during a rare vacation. Rhea spent 3 days on her laptop investigating a politician instead of enjoying their rented beach house. When Jasper expressed disappointment, her response chilled him. "You should feel lucky I'm even here," she snapped. "Most men would appreciate having someone who actually matters in this world." 2 weeks later, Jasper ended things. Rhea's reaction shifted from disbelief to rage to calculated manipulation. First came tears, then threats to expose supposed improprieties in his projects. When those failed, she switched to messages professing undying love. "I'll wait for you to realize your mistake," read her final text before weeks of silence. Jasper moved on, met Nadia, and believed Rhea had done the same. He was wrong. The silence wasn't acceptance, it was calculation. What Jasper didn't know, Rhea had created fake social media accounts to monitor him. She drove past his apartment nightly. She researched acid attacks after seeing his engagement announcement online. She wasn't moving on. She was planning. May 15th arrived with perfect weather, sunshine streaming through St. Augustine's stained glass windows, painting the century-old wooden pews with kaleidoscope colors. Outside, cherry blossoms drifted in the spring breeze, nature's confetti for the day ahead. By noon, the chapel hummed with anticipation. Elderly women dabbed perfume behind their ears while ushers guided guests to their seats. A string quartet played softly in the corner, their music floating up to the vaulted ceiling. "Never seen him so happy," whispered Carlos, Jasper's college roommate, as they watched guests file in. "Or so nervous." Jasper stood near the altar, adjusting his boutonniere for the 3rd time. His navy suit, custom tailored for today, felt suddenly tight across his shoulders. His thoughts raced between joy and disbelief that in minutes he'd be married to Nadia. "Breathe, man," Miguel nudged him. "She's on her way." The pastor positioned himself at the altar, prayer book open, smile gentle beneath his gray beard. He'd counseled Jasper and Nadia through premarital sessions, impressed by their thoughtfulness about building a life together. 200 guests filled the chapel, community members whose lives they'd touched, colleagues who'd become friends, family who'd traveled from across the country. Mrs. Abernathy, the 90-year-old whose garden they'd restored last summer, held court in the front row, her wheelchair adorned with ribbons. At 1:55 p.m., the music shifted. The wedding coordinator gave final instructions to the bridesmaids lined up at the chapel's rear entrance, their sage green dresses catching the light. Jasper took his position, heart pounding against his ribs. His entire future waited on the other side of those wooden doors. No one noticed the side door opening. No one saw her slip in. No one knew what the next 60 seconds would bring. The processional music swelled as the chapel doors opened. Nadia appeared in a vision of white, her father's arm linked with hers. Jasper's eyes filled at the sight of her, radiant, confident, smiling through her veil. 3 steps. That's how far Nadia moved down the aisle when a voice cut through the music. "If I can't have you, no one will." Time compressed into milliseconds. Rhea stood 5 feet from Jasper, her gray coat open, her hair pulled back severely. Most guests didn't recognize her, but Jasper did. His body tensed, recognizing danger before his mind processed why. The glass bottle glinted in Ria's hand as she raised it. Her aim precise, her motion practiced. The liquid arcs through the air, catching light from the stained glass as it flew. Then, impact. Acid hit Jasper's face with a hiss. His scream pierced the chapel as the chemical burned through layers of skin. He dropped to his knees, hands hovering over his face, afraid to touch, yet desperate to remove the burning substance. "My eyes, I can't see." His voice, animal with pain, echoed against stone walls. Nadia rushed forward, but Miguel pulled her back. "Don't touch him, it'll burn you too." Chaos erupted. Women screamed. Men rushed toward, then backed away from Jasper, uncertain how to help. The pastor grabbed a pitcher of water from the communion table, pouring it over Jasper's contorted face. "Someone call 911. The coordinator's voice cut through the panic. "Wait. Are you feeling the tension in your chest right now? The shock of what just happened? If you are, hit that like button and comment "Justice for Jasper" to show support for what comes next in this horrifying case." Ria remained frozen, watching her handiwork with cold satisfaction as security tackled her to the ground. The bottle shattered against the floor, its remaining drops eating into the century-old wood. "He deserved it," she stated calmly as two guests pinned her arms. "Ask him what he did to me." Outside, sirens wailed closer. Inside, Jasper's once handsome face bubbled and melted. Nadia knelt beside him, her wedding dress pooling around them both, her tears falling onto ruined fabric. "Stay with me," she whispered, not knowing if he could hear through his agony. "Please stay with me." Paramedics burst through the chapel doors 4 minutes after the call. They found Jasper on the stone floor, his consciousness fading from shock and pain. The acid had already eaten through skin on his face, neck, and chest, leaving raw, exposed tissue. "Chemical burn, severe, face and upper torso," the lead EMT radioed ahead. "Priority transport, notify burn unit to prepare." Outside, officers handcuffed Ria, who offered no resistance. Her expression remained vacant, almost peaceful. "She planned this," Miguel told police, his hands still shaking. She waited until the exact moment to cause maximum damage. As the ambulance raced toward University Medical Center, medics worked frantically to neutralize the acid. Every second it remained on Jasper's skin caused irreversible harm. His wedding suit, soaked through, had to be cut away. The gold band meant for Nadia remained clutched in his fist, the metal now warped from chemical contact. At the hospital, a team of specialists waited. Dr. Lena Park, the lead burn surgeon, assessed Jasper's injuries immediately. Third-degree chemical burns covering 22% of his body, she noted. Facial structure compromised. Right eye exposure significant. For Nadia, still in her wedding gown now stained with Jasper's blood, the medical jargon blurred together. One phrase cut through clearly: permanent disfigurement likely. Across town at the police station, Ria sat in an interrogation room, declining her right to an attorney. "I want to explain why I did it," she stated coolly to Detective Walsh. "I want everyone to understand he deserved this." The detective hit record as Ria spoke for 90 uninterrupted minutes, detailing her relationship with Jasper, their breakup, and how she'd researched acid attacks after seeing similar cases overseas. "I ordered the sulfuric acid online," she explained with unsettling clarity. "I tested different containers to find one that would break on impact, but not during transport." Her confession revealed not a crime of passion, but a calculated attack planned over 6 months. "The wedding day wasn't random," she concluded. "I wanted to mark him on the day he thought he was choosing someone else." As Jasper fought for his life in the burn unit, detectives uncovered the full extent of Ria's obsession. Her apartment revealed a wall covered with photos of Jasper and Nadia, surveillance images taken from various distances. Red X's marked Nadia's face in each picture. She kept meticulous records, Detective Walsh explained to the prosecutor. Notebooks documenting Jasper's schedule, places he frequented, even conversations she overheard by sitting near him at cafes. Digital forensics painted an even more disturbing picture. Ria had created 7 fake social media accounts to monitor the couple. She joined the same gym as Nadia, watching her from across the room. She applied for a position at Jasper's firm using a false identity. The level of planning suggests an obsession that evolved into something more dangerous, noted Dr. Reyes, the forensic psychologist assigned to the case. She didn't just want to hurt him. She wanted to own his identity, to ensure he'd carry a permanent reminder of her. Most shocking was Ria's research history. Her laptop contained over 200 searches about acid attacks, including medical journals detailing the permanent effects of chemical burns and videos of actual victims. She had joined online forums for rejected lovers, posting under pseudonyms about making him pay and marking what's mine. Other members had encouraged her, offering suggestions that grew increasingly violent. Before you continue watching, take a moment to subscribe if you haven't already. Our channel explores the psychology behind these crimes to help you recognize warning signs in your own life. Hit that notification bell to never miss an upload. The investigation also revealed Ria had attended a support group for survivors of romantic betrayal, where she met Vince, a janitor at St. Augustine's, who provided her information about the wedding layout and side entrance. "I thought she just wanted closure," Vince later testified. She said seeing them marry would help her move on. Instead, she used his information to orchestrate an attack that would forever alter 3 lives and serve as a warning about how quickly rejected love can transform into calculated hatred. Jasper woke from his medically induced coma 5 days after the attack. His first conscious moment brought confusion, then searing pain, then the crushing realization his face was gone. The doctors were honest from the beginning, Nadia recalled. They said he'd need at least 15 surgeries over several years. His right eye would never regain full vision. His facial nerves were severely damaged. The physical recovery began with debridement, removing dead tissue to prevent infection. Each procedure left Jasper exhausted, his body fighting to heal wounds that would never fully close. Skin grafts from his thigh covered the worst areas, but rejected as often as they took. "There were days I wished she'd just killed me," Jasper admitted months later. "I couldn't look in mirrors, couldn't bear Nadia seeing me this way." The psychological wounds cut deeper than the physical ones. Jasper refused visitors, even family. He pushed Nadia away repeatedly, convinced she stayed out of pity. Nightmares jolted him awake, his body reliving the burning sensation night after night. "I told him I didn't fall in love with his face," Nadia said. "I fell in love with the man who saw potential in forgotten places. That man was still there." Their planned honeymoon funds went to medical bills instead. The community development project they'd started together stalled. Simple tasks, eating, speaking clearly, going outside without stairs became mountains to climb. Progress came in tiny victories. The day Jasper allowed Nadia to change his bandages, the first time he agreed to video therapy. The morning he asked to see the wedding photos taken before the attack. "Recovery isn't linear," explained Dr. Sharma, his psychiatrist. "For victims of such personal violence, healing happens in cycles. Acceptance, anger, grief, they repeat in different orders, different intensities." 6 months after the attack, Jasper and Nadia sat together in their apartment, takeout containers between them. When she made a joke about the food, he laughed, his first genuine laugh since that day. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The courthouse steps swarmed with reporters on the first day of Ria's trial. Inside, the prosecution presented their case methodically, the planning, the stalking, the calculated choice of weapon. "This wasn't a crime of passion," District Attorney Morales told the jury. "This was premeditated violence designed to cause permanent suffering." Ria sat expressionless throughout, occasionally writing notes to her court-appointed attorney. She declined to testify in her own defense, but her confession video played in full, her voice calm as she described selecting acid for its lasting effects. "I wanted him to see my work every time he looked in a mirror," she'd told detectives. The defense attempted an insanity plea, bringing experts to testify about obsessive attachment disorder and pathological rejection response. But Ria's detailed planning undermined these arguments. Jasper testified on day 4, his face partially covered with medical compression garments. The courtroom fell silent as he described the ongoing surgeries, the constant pain, the loss of his career due to public speaking anxiety. "The hardest part isn't the physical pain," he said. "It's knowing someone I once loved wanted to destroy me." When asked if he had anything to say to Ria, he turned toward her. "I forgive you," he stated quietly. "Not for you, for me, so I can move forward." Ria's only visible reaction came during Nadia's testimony, when she described postponing their wedding indefinitely while focusing on Jasper's recovery. A slight smile crossed Ria's lips. The jury deliberated for just 4 hours before returning their verdict, guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced her to 25 years without possibility of parole. As officers led Rhea away, she looked directly at Jasper. "You'll think of me every day," she said. "I've made sure of that." The community that gathered for a wedding found new purpose in supporting Jasper's recovery. A GoFundMe campaign raised $230,000 for medical expenses not covered by insurance. Local restaurants delivered meals. Volunteers drove him to appointments when Nadia needed to work. "People we barely knew showed up consistently," Nadia recalled. "That's when we realized tragedy reveals who truly cares." Miguel organized a benefit concert featuring local musicians. Mrs. Abernathy, the elderly woman whose garden they'd restored, knitted Jasper soft scarves to protect his healing skin from the sun. Former clients from their community projects sent cards weekly. The support extended beyond practical help. When Jasper finally ventured to a coffee shop 6 months after the attack, the owner quietly asked other patrons not to stare. When children asked about his face, parents used it as an opportunity to teach compassion rather than hushing them awkwardly. "The kindness of strangers became our lifeline," Jasper said. Slowly, he found purpose in his pain. A year after the attack, he spoke at a high school about recognizing relationship red flags. The talk, initially terrifying for him, resonated with students who'd never considered how possessiveness could escalate to violence. This led to more speaking engagements. Jasper and Nadia created a foundation focused on healthy relationship education. They developed a curriculum about consent, boundaries, and warning signs of obsession. "I couldn't prevent what happened to me," Jasper explained. "But maybe I can prevent it happening to someone else." Their work gained national attention when a teenager credited their program with helping her escape a controlling relationship. News outlets that once sensationalized the attack now covered their prevention efforts. "The acid changed my face," Jasper told a reporter, "but helping others is changing my heart." 3 years after the attack, Jasper and Nadia finally exchanged vows in a private ceremony at sunset. His face, though permanently altered after 17 surgeries, carried a quiet dignity. Her eyes held the same love they had on that first interrupted wedding day. "We refused to let hatred win," Nadia said, her fingers intertwined with his. That would give Rhea exactly what she wanted. Their journey offers critical lessons about recognizing dangerous obsession before it turns violent. First, possessiveness is not love. Rhea's need to control Jasper's life, her monitoring of his activities, and her inability to accept rejection weren't signs of devotion. They were warning signals of dangerous fixation. Second, threats should never be dismissed. When Rhea said, "You'll regret this," after their breakup, Jasper interpreted it as emotional venting. In retrospect, it was a declaration of intent. Third, stalking behaviors escalate when unchecked. What began as occasional drive-bys of Jasper's apartment evolved into elaborate surveillance and ultimately violence. Most importantly, survivors can reclaim their narratives. Jasper's scars tell a story not just of victimhood, but of resilience. His foundation now reaches thousands of young adults annually with prevention education. If you've recognized similar warning signs in your own relationships or those of loved ones, please reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline or local resources. The time to act is before violence occurs. Before you go, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What warning signs do you think Jasper missed? What could Rhea's friends or family have done to intervene? Share your insights in the comments below. If this story impacted you, please subscribe to Altar of Secrets for more cases that might save lives through awareness. Hit the notification bell to catch our uploads the moment they're released. Until next time, remember, true love builds up. It never destroys. It respects boundaries. It accepts endings. And most importantly, it wishes well even when paths diverge. Stay safe, stay aware, and thank you for joining us today. See you on another story from the Altar of Secrets. Bye for now.